Hi, welcome to episode crap 96. I forgot to look before we started. So, welcome to episode 96 of Creepy Soup. I'm Jill.
I'm Jenny.
Welcome. How are
If
you?
you don't know by now, we're a hot mess like always.
Yeah, was it saying Hot Mess Express? That's us. We are the
Yep,
conductors. We're the ones that fill the little coal thing to keep it going.
yep, for sure. Just depends on, who's doing what which day.
Yeah, yeah. And we take turns. Sometimes we both are doing it on the same day.
Those are fun days.
So let's start with the obvious. Did you catch the eclipse at all?
I did catch the eclipse. I did get a few interesting pictures.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was very cloudy here. But that allowed me to get the pictures because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to look up to be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't worry
and
about glasses.
Yeah, in the process of the eclipse, I colored my hair.
Nice. I like it.
Thank
Which
you.
I'm going to be doing that tomorrow because I have so many wisdom strands popping up. I don't like them.
Yeah, I had to get rid of mine.
Yeah, they're my. Okay, so here's the thing. The stuff that I have, you have to have, okay, you know how like normally you get like the box dye and it tells you like don't do it on fresh, clean hair.
Hmm.
Well, the stuff I got from the beauty supply store, you have to have fresh, clean hair.
Hmm.
So I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I either didn't have time because it's very difficult to have bathroom time in the house right now. Especially over the last week because the kids had their spring break. So um they did go away and do some things and I don't know, I just slept in and um so what I would do is I had this little tube of just like the washout shit and I'm
Hmm.
like, well, I'll just put it up here and just to disappear for the day. Well, then before I could actually color it, then I'd have to wash it and all that fucking nonsense, which is going to lead me to the thing I told you I have to talk about. So last week I went to use my blow dryer and the blow dryer I have is um a friend of mine. I've known her literally my entire life. Um sold a certain hair care product, like one of the MLM pyramid. Um,
Hmm.
and to help her out, I bought like this package thing. And in it came a hair dryer. And that was a hair dryer. And it sucks. Like the rest of their fucking products
Oh,
does. I
okay.
I'm not gonna say the name, but it's Monet. So- it's horrible shit. Um, but the hair dryer, and I told Roy, like, this hair dryer sucks. It was taking forever. It gets like super, super hot, or it's not hot enough. He was like, just get a new one. Say no more. You're telling me I can spend some money. Boom.
Right. You're like, say less. I was already gone.
Yeah. Well, of course, every woman wants the Dyson Airwrap, right? Oh, I've been
Don't
wanting that
care.
thing for a long time. Well,
If I had more hair, I might care. But my hair is so thin, I don't give a shit anymore.
I'm gonna tell you what. So what I did, I went on my best friend Amazon and I do a search for hair dryer with attachments. And this particular one comes up, of course, I have to read reviews because,
Hmm.
and this is probably 10% of the price
Oh, okay.
of a Dyson Airwrap because those are like 700-800 bucks.
Yeah.
And like you could do the payment plan thing. Well, anytime I can do the payment plan, I will because it does help your credit score a little bit because they have to do a credit check. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. And it was on sale and plus a 15%. And there was some other shit off. Well, anyway, I ended up getting it. And I mean, I know you probably can't tell too much, but like this is the set.
Okay.
And it tells you like to use the blow dryer attachment, but not so it's like 100% dry. So I did it a little bit and then I put the straightener attachment on. And normally, even after working, I'll get like a wave or something in my hair. Now, mind you, I grew up with bone straight hair and I was jealous of all of my friends who had a little bit of oomph to their hair. I never did. I always looked like a ragamuffin because my hair wouldn't even stay combed. My mom could comb it, spray it, put it in pigtails, ponytails, whatever. And I would come home with one up here, one down here, and my bangs sticking straight up. Fucking nightmare. My hair's always been a nightmare.
I don't think I ever had that problem with it. It was when I was just waking up.
Yeah, I don't know if I just played really hard or what the thing was, but I came home every day looking like I don't even know. But so I used the straightener attachment for that today, and my hair has remained straight. No hairspray, no nothing. I love that thing.
Nice.
I love it. And I think that, like, I'm excited to color my hair tomorrow because I'm going to get rid of this shit, but I also get to use that again.
I have a $15 hair dryer from Walmart.
I think before the crappy one I had, um, I had got one because I was a shift supervisor at Rite Aid. So I was the one that always got stuck doing the price changes. So when things even went on clearance, I'd be like, hey, we got like 8 of these and they're all on clearance. Does anyone want one? Because shit like that didn't sell like hair dryers, curling irons, that didn't sell at Rite Aid because they're pricey.
Hmm.
So they had, I don't know, it was like it had like these little cartridges you could put in, like ionizer, some shit like that. And Rite Aid initially sold it for like 80 bucks. It went 90% off and I got it for like 7.99.
Then I would have bought it.
Absolutely. I bought it and I used it a lot. And it finally just said, fuck you.
My last one said, if you don't stop using me, I'm gonna catch your hair on fire.
Yeah, I've had some of those.
I said, okay, fair. Um, because yeah, I went to use it one day and as I was using it, like it started smoking and I could smell it. And I was like, oh shit, nope. I unplugged it, took it outside. I was like, FYI, this is what happened with this.
Yeah, don't bring it back in.
Right.
I did this on purpose.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, and then a couple of days later, I was at Walmart and didn't have a whole lot to spend. So yeah, I think it was like a $15 one, but it's one of those ones where you can fold it and then retract the cord, and
Okay,
it fits in a nice little cubby in my closet. So
perfect.
yeah,
You
it
would
works
think
okay
something
for
like
me.
that would be more than 15. I'd pay more than 15 for something like that.
It was cheap and it actually works really good. Like it gets warm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And And here's my thing, like I'm sure this is like a fraction of how good the Dyson is, but I love this hair dryer.
That's awesome. No, I mean, like I get it. And seriously, ain't nobody but the millionaires got money to pay that much for a goddamn hair dryer.
Right.
You know, so if you can buy one that's similar for that much less and it works great,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy with it. Like I got done doing my hair and Roy's like, "Do you like it?" And I'm like, I just yeah, I do. I like it. And it was very quick. It
Nice.
was quick. So, yeah, tomorrow I'm going to use the oval one like to give me the blowout look after I color my hair. So, I'm
Nice.
excited.
It only takes me like 5 minutes to do my hair, so
I would say from start to finish, and that's even waiting for a couple minutes for the attachment to cool down before I could take it off. Now it comes like with them heat gloves.
mhm.
Did I take the time to grab them? No, no. Um, but I want to say it was less than 15 minutes from taking my hair out of the towel to ready for work.
Nice. That's not bad.
Yeah, I'm not complaining at all. So,
Awesome.
yeah. So, do you have anything special coming up?
More testing.
Oh, fun, fun. Yeah,
I did do civics testing today and got 88 out of 100, so I'm very happy about that.
okay.
Couple small things I gotta do, and then testing commences.
That's always a joy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been testing for too long.
But are you starting to see that finish line?
Mm, to be fair, though, the guy did listen to me today on my grievances with their ridiculous website
Okay, good.
and all of that. And he did actually take notes. And he said that typically they do alterations to their programs over the summer. So then that way, when everybody's re-enrolling in the fall, then everything's already in place. So he said he was going to see what he could do to get things fixed and re-implemented in that area.
Okay, good.
So, yay!
Hopefully it's not just blowing smoke up your butt.
I seriously hope not. But at the same time, I won't have to do it again, so I won't really care. But, if I can save someone who learns like me the headache that I received in all of this,
Absolutely.
weeks, weeks of being stuck.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this gets you going and you at least see the dot of the finish line.
Hopefully next week I'll start to see that dot. That's my hope.
Oh, goals. They're wonderful.
Oh
I
yeah.
I don't think I have anything major coming up. Um, yeah, I don't think so. Do I? Fuck, I don't know. Yeah. Well, it's weird because like the last few weeks I've had appointment, and this week I didn't have any. So
Same.
so it was very weird for me. But I've liked waking up at 10, but not crawling my ass out of bed till 10:30. That's been wonderful.
Nice.
Yep. So but yeah, I don't think I have anything coming up. Yeah, I don't think so.
Fun.
Yeah.
I'll take the nothing.
Oh, the nothing is nice. Well, for so long I did nothing. And then, like I said, for a few weeks I was just busy, appointment after appointment after appointment. Now, I know next month I've got a few, and because it is now after midnight, 1 month from today, I will be this close to Gary Allen.
She's getting excited, y'all.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was because I bought my ticket so long ago. Well, it feels like so long ago. It's only been a couple months, really. But it feels like it's so long ago that I bought it that I don't know, it was hard for me to get excited, but I got a month to go, 1 month from today. So I'm
We'll see where
excited.
the excitement's at in a couple of weeks.
Well, I'm hoping because usually the week of a concert, they announce or you can put in for the meet and greet.
Okay.
Now, did you ever see I got a meet and greet back in 2019
Oh,
and
nice.
the picture is so ridiculous. It's on my Facebook, but it's ridiculous. I really should take it down because it's fucking terrible. I look crazy. Like, I look absolutely crazy. Crazy
Mm,
smile, crazy eyes, the whole fucking 9 yards. That was me. But I was so excited
kind
because
of
I,
like how I have the one picture with a certain shippy and I look like I'm great. To
well,
be fair, I had been awake for quite some time
I was
and
gonna
then went
say
into a
it,
haunted location. So,
yeah, I was gonna say, is it the one that pictures were taken at like 5 in the morning?
yep, yep, that
Yeah.
would be the one. And instead of coming and standing next to me, he stands behind me and acts like he's eating my head. And I'm looking over my shoulder. Like,
Yeah.
thanks, Jamie. Thanks.
Like honestly, that one I never got in my email.
I got that one.
I never got my picture from that, but it's fine. I mean, I've got others. In fact, the last one I've got with it's me and Judy together, and she was wearing um remember the shirt you got with the stencil, the Nightmare Before Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Judy was wearing hers. And he had made a comment about, I like that. I was like, I made that. And he was like, the shirt or the girl? And I'm like, both, actually. I made them both.
Oh, leave it to, I'm not going to say the name.
Yeah.
Yeah, leave it to him to make that comment. Which one?
Yeah. I made both of them.
I do miss the village.
Um, okay.
So, what is tonight's story about?
Okay. So this is going to be a part one. I'm warning you guys right now. Um, uh, it is the Brandon Teena murder. Well, I actually named it the Humboldt murders. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's from Nebraska. I don't know. Um, do you know that story?
Maybe.
Have you ever seen the movie Boys Don't Cry?
Yes.
That's it.
Okay. That would be why I recognize it then.
Yeah.
So in
It's a
that case, pause, go get some popcorn and a drink, and then get nice and cozy, grab your blanket, all that good stuff, buckle in.
unless you're driving, and then don't do any of that.
No, if you're driving, please stay buckled in though.
Yeah. Um, this is one I've debated on doing for a while. Um, because I had heard about the story and then saw the movie, and then the real story is so different from the movie, kind of. Like one of the victims isn't even in the movie.
Oh, okay.
And then the other victim, they gave the character a completely different name. Yeah.
Odd.
I'm not sure what, I don't remember why. I don't know if there is a reason, but um like the one girl, her real name was Lisa, but the character was Candace.
Man, that ain't even close. I mean, they
Mm,
could have made him similar or something.
yeah, something. Um, Now I will say, like, all my information for this came from crimelibrary.org. And I
Okay.
actually sat there the other night before I finally said, nope, this is the one I'm doing, going through because there's so many fucking cases on there. That is going to be my go-to for ideas from now on.
Nice.
They even have a section of haunted crime scenes. Yeah.
Me, please.
Yeah. Um, but I went through and I'm like, oh, I could do this one because I already know a lot about it. Or I could do this one. And then I decided on this one. Um, but I will say before I, because I was had been contemplating. So on Tubi, there is let me look up the name of it because I don't remember. It is a documentary.
Good or bad?
I mean, it's informative, kind of.
Mhm.
Okay. It is a lot of the people that was involved in the case. Like there's like ex-girlfriends um from the hometown. Um I mean, well, I said murder, so spoiler alert. The killers are interviewed in this. The girlfriend that started the whole thing, um, the girlfriend's mom, the victim's mom, the other victim's mom, and dad. And look, I get, okay, I want to word this nicely. They seem to have found all, be nice, Jill, be nice. Learning was not bestowed upon people in this area.
Okay. Okay. Fair.
I mean, and you would think people from the documentary would be like, look, you can't call them law people. Law, we had to call the law people. They're called law enforcement or police or lawyers.
The
Which law?
popo?
Which law people? It was good because you're if you can get past a lot of, I think some of it may have been nerves and some of, but it was
Words
like,
escape them all.
yeah. Hmm. Like I said, learning, I don't think was pushed as important. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, Interesting if you want to hear like first person how they felt about things, about different things that led up to, and then the fallout after, I guess.
Okay.
Like there's one of, I won't even say which one it is, but one of the women that was interviewed, I wanted to punch her right in her suck hole. Like, just, I don't know why they had her. I'm just gonna say that. But let me finish looking it up. I had to go off on that little tangent. I'm sorry.
Didn't mean to distract you.
It it's called the Brandon Tina story. Nope. Nope. We don't want to watch it. I was just hoping for like pictures or something, but it says this documentary examines the final weeks in the life of Brandon Tina, a transgender man whose horrific murder inspired the film Boys Don't Cry. So that is one thing I wanted to kind of because oh, hmm, I know pronouns are super important for people. Um, but when it calls for me to use like, because she was born Tina Brandon. So like when I'm talking about the early life, I'll be referring to her as a female and then later as a male because that's how he lived. So I'm gonna put that out of the way and I'll probably reiterate that during. So are we ready? Do we have our
Ready.
popcorn, our drinks, our beer, our shot? I will give a slight trigger warning because it does go into detail on kind of how um the crime scene. So I'm going to
Okay.
give a little bit of a trigger warning on that. Um, okay, so it's the way my notes starts the morning after the murders. When
Okay.
so it's New Year's Eve, um 1994. Shit. Let,
Do,
let me
do, do,
let me
do,
look at
do,
something real
do, do,
quick.
do.
I can't. I thought it was 93. Yes, yes, yes. I wrote down, okay, because I wrote down 94, but it was 93.
Ah,
So it was excuse me, December 31st, 1993, when Anna Mae Lambert, who called the law people, someone out in my kitchen's being noisy. Anna Mae Lambert arrives at her daughter's rented farmhouse to visit her daughter. I'm not sure if there was like some New Year's Eve plans. But she went to visit her daughter Lisa and her grandson Tanner, because and I forget, I think the baby was like 18 months old at the time. Um, and very quickly after getting there, she called the law people, the police, to okay, stop being a dick. I gotta stop being a dick. Um,
it's funny because I was totally thinking they are totally forever going to be in my mind law people now.
um, okay, I don't know if it's Humboldt. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Humboldt. Humboldt. That's what I'm at. So the Humboldt Rescue Squad took the call around 10:20 in the morning, and all they knew was there had been some deaths, possibly a baby. One of them possibly a baby. So Deputy Ray Harrod um enters the scene to secure it, and the first thing he sees is a young African American man slumped against the couch. He had a prosthetic leg, and over his lap was like a coffee table. What?
I was thinking, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Forrest didn't run.
Um, I never learned why this guy had a prosthetic leg, but so
Bummer.
the coffee table was laying on his lap, and once he got closer, he realized that the man was dead. Um, there was an entrance wound in his jaw and an exit wound on the right side of his head. They thought initially it was a possible suicide, but there was no gun.
The jaw?
Here,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
I mean that's very possible. Um, so as Deputy Herod is assessing the scene, he notices a woman feeding a baby at the table. So spoiler alert, baby was safe. Right.
Yeah.
The woman was Anna Mae who called them. And the baby, or she was the grandmother of the baby. and a mother to one of the victims. Um, and she also knew not to fuck with anything because it was a crime scene, but the baby had been alone essentially for hours and needed to eat.
Right.
Um, and then at that point, she like points Deputy Herod or Ray. I'm just gonna call him Ray.
I like that better.
Um, me too. Um, I mean, I know in journalism class they said use surnames. No, I'm a first name kind of people. So, um, and let's face it, sometimes last names are hard.
Oh, hell yes.
Sometimes they're very hard. But at this point, Anime points Ray to the bedroom, and in the bedroom there are two people in their 20s, laying on a leaky waterbed. A young blonde woman and a baby-faced young man. No weapon was found. Ray had no idea who they were. So, Richardson County, Charles B. Locks. Uh, I'm gonna tell you right now, we don't like him. He's kind of like the Gerber from the Shepherd story of this story. A little worse, actually. Um, so he eventually strolls in, and he recognized one of the victims as Teena Brandon, who was 21, who had reported that John Lauder and Tom Nissen, Neeson, I think, had raped her a week earlier. Um, Brandon, okay. So in my notes, I wrote the Brandon identity situation. So when it calls for, I'll go by Teena, and then once she kind of starts choosing to live a certain way, she tried on names. She like tried them on like coats. Um, at one point, Billy is the name of choice. And then eventually he s- just switched the first and last name around. It works either way, really.
Hmm.
So again, I it's not to be disrespectful to like honestly, anytime I talk about the story, I've always referred to as he. But for some of the story, the she part is kind of important too. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, so um for this part, I'm gonna use the Brandon and he. Um, so Brandon was on his back on the lower end of the bed, leg dangling over the edge. Um, his hands were bloody, fully clothed. His white socks were pink from the watered down blood because the waterbed is leaking. Officers lifted his sweatshirt and they saw a wound most likely made by a knife. Um, he had a small bullet hole under the chin, and it must have been at close range because it was surrounded by gunpowder residue. Sorry, I just got a chill and I'm cold. Um, and in the course of this, he had been hit by a blunt object, causing a skull fracture. And of the three victims that were there, Brandon had got it the worst, kind of leading them to believe that he was the primary target
Hmm.
of the whole thing. Okay, so next was the body of Lisa Lambert, who was 24. She was partially under the covers, and she had a bullet wound to her right eye,
In the eye.
in the eye. She also had a bullet wound in her stomach, and I'm guessing crime scene thing stuff. Um, ugh, sorry. She had been sitting up when she was shot. So, and you know what? I couldn't imagine being her, knowing that was coming
Hmm.
with my child in the house. I think that would be the worst part. But I will say, thankfully, and I don't know if it ever goes into detail of why they didn't hurt the baby, but I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Um, so some of the evidence and shit that they got, um, they had to have an accident reconstruction expert come to look at tire tracks near, excuse me, near the front porch. Fuck. I'm so sorry.
You can do it. You can do
I know.
it.
There was tire tracks near the front porch, but because they couldn't, the Nebraska State Patrol from Lincoln couldn't cast it because it was kind of messed up, so they brought in accident experts. They found a single footprint and a red spot near the front door. They tried to find a gun, hoping that they could recover bullets from the victims to match to a weapon. Um, and I hang on, I know I have the evidence in here somewhere. Yep, there it is. Um, so then going back to the first victim they saw, the first victim they found, the guy with the prosthetic leg, that he had another bullet entry point, so he must have been shot twice. They found his wallet in the bedroom. He was 19-year-old Philip Devine. Um, and I know in here somewhere I talk about it. We'll get there. So some of the evidence they collected were 6 shell casings that were found in the bedroom. They also found a spent bullet and a live cartridge. There was a cigarette lighter, ashtray contents, swabs from 2 blood spots, um, and this and other evidence. Words are fucking hard today. Um, they were sent to a criminalistics lab in Lincoln, Nebraska. At this point, the bodies were taken to the morgue. And around this same time, arrest warrants were issued for John Lauder, for John and Tom. I'm not gonna do the last name thing. We've already talked about that. For the sexual assault. Well, once they're arrested for that, of course they've got questions about the murder.
Hmm.
So now we're gonna jump back in time a little bit. Um, Teena Renee Brandon was born December 12th, 1972. Um, she did not consider herself a lesbian because she felt like a man. She would stuff her pants. I know men in high school that, oh, boys in high school that did this. Where she would stuff her pants with a rolled up sock. Um, she had cut her hair very short, used ace bandages to bind her tatas. Um, and she was able to pass herself off as a man. Um, and then I really wanted to drive this home apparently because I got in parentheses. Again, I will only refer to Brandon as female when the story calls for it. I really wanted to drive that point home. So just again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or forms. So by the time Tina was in high school, she was sampling boy names, like I said. Um, some of her choices were Tenna Ray. Yeah, that to me sounds girly, and I actually kind of like it. Billy and Brandon. Um, in high school, Billy was the name that was chosen,
I like
and
Brandon better. I don't know why.
huh,
I like Brandon better. I don't know why.
me too. Um, So by this time, she's going by Billy and dating girls from rival schools who may or may not know her. And, rival schools. And of course, this is in 91, 92, 93, before social media was a thing. Can you tell I got up early and worked all day today? Um, Many of these girls thought that Billy was the perfect boyfriend. Um, and Billy had even been engaged to one or two different girls.
Mhm.
Um,
In high school.
yeah. The more people Teena had confided in, the more she was alienated because again, this is late 80s, early 90s. It
And people
was
suck.
yeah, and of course, yes, it is a different time, but again, you think smaller towns, it was more you have to be this way or you're wrong, which is kind of where this whole thing leads to.
And I'm not gonna lie, most small towns are still like that to this day.
Oh yeah. Her family had a hard time adjusting to the Teena to Billy to Brandon thing. Um, Teena even went to counseling with her mom. Um, Not many people believed her of, what was going on. Like some may have thought it was just like a phase type thing or doing it for attention because she lied a lot. And she would occasionally refer to herself as a hermaphrodite, which if someone don't know, it's someone who's born with both male and female sex organs. And her goal was to fully become a man. Um, Many who knew Teena said her greatest fear was to be sexually touched by a man, especially rape. Um, and one male, and this does not go into detail. I know at one point I read the book by Aphrodite Jones, but it's so long ago. I don't remember if it goes into detail about that. And I think that book was called All She Wanted, and then it changed its name to All He Wanted. Um, but it says one male relative exposed her to repeated sexual abuse. It doesn't go into detail of who. Um, so some people think that her male appearance could have been like a security blanket kind of
Hmm.
thing. Um, well, Teena forged checks, stole from people. In fact, in the documentary, the one girl, I believe her name was Gina, that was a girlfriend that was engaged. Um, Brandon had actually stole money from her to buy her engagement ring. Yeah.
That's a rough
Um,
one.
yeah. So she forged checks, stole from people, and generally got into trouble. In late 1993, she left home to go somewhere where no one knew her. And this is where I'm going to try to do my best. Because, like I said, I've always referred to Brandon Teena as he. Um, and because this point on, yeah, okay. Do you got it? Like,
Hmm.
again, I'm not to be disrespectful or not to piss off people who, you know, I don't know. Like, look, this isn't a political podcast. This isn't, we're going to piss you off by throwing out a bunch of our views. It's just for this story.
Yeah, I think for the most part we do pretty good on being inclusive and do our best not to discriminate against any particular group of people.
Right.
So,
At
and
least
I
I
know
hope.
that's never our goal. We never want to upset anyone with any of the words that we use. In most cases, if it's something along that lines, it is from the view of the person who did whatever source that we're using for the information.
Right. And that's even like the crime library where I got most of this information from. That was a lot of referring to Brandon as her, which to me, saying Brandon and then her is just weird.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why I did the Teena and then Brandon. So,
And
but
to be fair, it was done back then before laws had changed and things like that. So
yeah,
we need to keep that into consideration as well.
yes. So again, from this point on, it's Brandon and he, him. Okay. All right. Um,
Okay.
so Brandon goes 80 miles south to from Brandon goes 80 miles south of Lincoln to Humboldt. He stays with a girl named Lisa Lambert. And Lisa falls in love with Brandon, like head over heels in love. And they're kind of a couple until he meets Lana Tisdale. Tisdale? Yeah, Lana. Lana. Um, so okay, they fall in love, Lisa falls in love. He has his eye on someone else, and that's kind of what led to his troubles from this point on. Brandon was 5'5" and 112 pounds.
Right.
Um, he was considered pleasant, but a skinny young man. He hung out with guys, talked about cars, women, played cards. Uh, I can't read my own writing.
I hate it when that
Shaved.
happens.
I was like, shod. What the fuck is shod? No, it's shaved. Fucking dumbass. Um, so by early December, he is dating 19-year-old Lana Tisdale. Um, Brandon's new Brandon's new friends Tom was married with two kids and sometimes hung out with John. Both men were ex-cons, and John was also an ex-boyfriend of Lana.
I
Um,
see the triangle.
the that that's part of it. And then the whole identity thing. Um, they were joined by Philip Divine. He was the prosthetic leg guy. I hate to refer to him as that, but that to me is the most memorable thing was he had a prosthetic leg.
I mean, to be fair, it's better than calling him Lieutenant Dan.
Well, yeah, he had two prosthetic legs. This guy's only got
That
one.
was very mean of me. I'm sorry.
Yes. And here we are talking about inclusivity.
I know. I can't
Uh,
help it.
so Philip was there during the holidays because he was visiting his girlfriend Leslie, who is Lana's sister. And that's really the only mention of Leslie. Um, well, being broke, Brandon, can you guess what he does?
Probably something we shouldn't.
He starts forging checks.
Oh,
Yeah.
we
Um,
shouldn't do that.
yeah, nope. Which leads to his arrest on December 15th. So just 3 days after his birthday. So he had just turned 21. So he is placed in the women's section of the jail. And this has Lana horrified and confused. Like, And she convinces Tom to bail Brandon out of jail on 12/22. So he had been in jail about a week. And the trouble really begins on Christmas Eve at a Christmas party at Tom's house. Um, while he was in jail, Lana had actually seen boobies that Brandon actually had breasts. Unsure what to believe, she confronts him and he tells Lana he's going through a sex change procedure, which this contradicts his previous hermaphrodite story that he told her. Um, so now Lana's more confused. Like, which is it? So during the Christmas party, Tom and John they get drunk and essentially force the issue. Um, they didn't want Lana dating someone they considered a freak. But then part of it, like you said, love triangle, John was still kind of in love with Lana and didn't really want her dating anybody, but especially to another woman.
Mhm.
I mean, biologically. Um,
Someone that they felt wasn't right.
Normal. Right. Well, that like they didn't want her dating someone they considered a freak.
Yes, yes.
So, um, the men grab Brandon and pull his pants down and force not Brandon, Lana to look. Now in the movie that's quite a scene where they like basically stick her face right there, but I don't know if that's how it actually happened. Um, soon after, John and Tom tell Lana that she needs to leave. She's wanted at home. Um, and Brandon was no longer welcome at her house. Now, the movie shows like Lana's household as the party house, and like the mom was in on it, kind of like that. Um, Lana promises to come back. Oops, sorry.
Sorry, it
Sorry.
wasn't too bad.
I didn't realize. Um, so now they're good and drunk, and they decide they're going to teach Brandon a lesson. So Tom follows Brandon into the bathroom and punches and kicks Brandon in the stomach. Um, basically beats trigger warning. This is a trigger warning for sexual assault. Um, so go ahead and skip a little bit if you're bothered by this. So John and Tom force Brandon into a car. And they find a secluded spot near a school. Um, Brandon was forced into the back seat by Tom, who insisted that Brandon take off his pants to prove that Brandon was actually a girl. Um, last chance for the trigger warning. One, two, three. Okay. Um, Tom rapes him vaginally and anally. And then it was John's turn. Um, John claims he couldn't perform, but that he ejaculated into a condom. And after all this is done, Tom hits and kicks Brandon some more. Um, after this, Brandon finds Lana, but his lip is bruised and bleeding, and he was sore as shit from having the shit beat out of him. And also in a state of shock. And despite the colds, he was not wearing shoes or a coat. And his worst fear had really just become reality. And of course, John and Tom tell Brandon to keep his mouth shut, but Lana encourages him to report. Well, they essentially kidnapped him, physically assaulted him, and sexually assaulted him. Um, So she encourages him to report this to the law people. And this is where I'm gonna leave you for tonight because part two is going to be a doozy. I don't know if you've ever looked up the actual case from this.
I haven't,
Um,
no.
I'm gonna ask that you don't if you haven't,
Okay,
because then the shock value next week won't be as juicy. Um,
fair. So the people watching, you're not allowed to look it up either.
yep, no,
No
this is a
cheating.
whole um I will say the interview with that wonderful sheriff from the beginning that knew who the one victim was. Um, he is a piece of shit. Um, yeah. So we will hear what kind of piece of shit he is next week in part two.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I
Yeah,
want to
it's
know, how does he make himself such a lovely piece of garbage? Because yeah, the last one, he suppressed evidence, wouldn't allow evidence to be collected, straight up lied, cost people jobs, and then he rose to the top.
yeah. Well, this guy, I will say, I don't know if it's because of this, but after this whole thing, loses his bid for reelection, but he ends up in some other position. So it's not like, he had a fucking spiral. He
Fun.
was sued.
Oh, okay.
We'll get
Wow,
in.
it went that far.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I hope that was okay. That was handwritten 8 pages. Eight? Yeah, I think that's what I counted was eight.
Yep, you had said four front and back.
Yeah. So, yeah, yeah. Then the next one, I'm just gonna tell you, it's gonna be a straight up fucking trigger warning.
Okay, good to know.
The whole thing.
So if you're squeamish, I'm sorry, don't listen or watch the second half.
Yeah.
However, if that's the case, you probably shouldn't look it up.
Yeah. Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. Um, yeah. And I will tell you, the reason I don't like him is the way he conducts the interview with Brandon.
Mm,
I mean, there's other reasons, but that's kind of in the
I
top
can
two.
already see where that's going.
I don't know what's
And
going
on
on
that
there.
note,
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for joining us and listening to my stumbling and the yawning and the burping and the all the other shit. So have a good night.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.